The rise of Jess Pitt, from rebellion to leadership in the small town of Willowridge, where the air always smelled of rain and pine, lived a girl named Jess Pitt, 12 years old, bright eyes, wild hair, and a spirit that refused to stay still. To her, the world wasn't made of timetables and homework. It was made of open fields, chasing kites, and stories she created in her own mind. But to her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pitt, Jess's world looked different. Her report card lay on the kitchen table, red marks everywhere. Her mother's voice cracked with disappointment. Her father's tone was firm, sharper than she'd ever heard. "Jess, you're wasting your time. You play when you should study. Do you think dreams come true without effort? You're old enough to know better." Jess stood there, eyes stinging, cheeks burning. For the first time, she didn't talk back. She didn't storm away. She just stood there, silent. That silence would change her life. That night, Jess made a promise. Not to her parents, not to her teachers, but to herself. She would prove that she was more than a stubborn child. She didn't know how, but she knew she would. The days that followed were hard. Jess began waking before sunrise, her lamp the only light in the quiet house. At school, she stayed behind after class, asking questions. Some laughed, saying, "Jess Pitt, the girl who never cared. What's gotten into her?" But Jess didn't hear them. She was too busy listening to her own determination. By 16, Jess had done the impossible. From the bottom of her class, she rose to the top, her name printed in bold letters on the school's honors board. Her teachers looked at her with pride, her parents with tears. But for Jess, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. In college, Jess discovered the thrill of discovery. Science fascinated her, the way one tiny idea could change the world. She joined science fairs, built small inventions, and even won national awards. Everyone said she'd make a brilliant scientist one day. But deep inside, Jess's heart whispered something else, something louder. "I don't just want to discover things. I want to change things." It started small. A debate competition. The topic, "Can youth change the nation?" Jess spoke with such fire that the hall fell silent when she finished. That day, a spark ignited. Politics wasn't about power to her, it was about purpose. She began volunteering in local campaigns, helping raise funds for schools, organizing community cleanups, and people began to notice. One evening, after a long campaign event, an older woman approached her. She was Senator Clara Wells, known for her honesty and leadership. "You have something rare, Jess. Conviction. Don't lose it. The world needs leaders like you." Those words became her compass. The road wasn't easy. For every success, there were 10 failures. She lost her first election, then her second. People said she was too young, too idealistic, too inexperienced. But every loss only sharpened her resolve. She studied leadership, economics, international policy, everything she could. She listened, learned, and grew stronger. And finally, one day, she won. From city councilor to state representative to national leader, Jess's journey became an inspiration. She fought for education reform, for equality, for renewable energy. She was the voice of the youth and the conscience of the people. The same girl who once refused to study was now building schools for others to learn. Years passed. The nation faced uncertainty, corruption, unemployment, division. And when the country needed hope the most, one name echoed through every home. Jess Pitt. Her campaign slogan was simple: "Together, we rise." It was a cold morning when the results came in. Crowds gathered, hearts pounding. And then, the announcement. Jess Pitt has been elected as the Prime Minister. The world erupted in applause. Jess stood on the stage, looking out at thousands of faces. Her parents stood in the front row, proud, tears streaming down. She smiled and whispered to herself, "I did it." But this is just the beginning. Jess Pitt, the girl once called careless and aimless, had become the nation's youngest Prime Minister. Her story reminds us that greatness isn't born from perfection. It's born from struggle, discipline, and a dream that refuses to die. So, if anyone ever tells you that you're not enough, remember Jess Pitt. Remember that the same girl who once ignored her books learned to write her own destiny. This was the story of Jess Pitt, a story of change, courage, and conviction. A story that proves, sometimes, the greatest leaders start as the most unlikely dreamers.